So not too long ago, I made a video called Number One Strategy for Making More Money. Hint, it's not a budget, right? Or keeping track of your money. Now, I want to make a follow-up to that because there are times where budgets are practical and are useful, which is what I'm about to tell you now. And I mentioned that in that video. I kind of downplay the importance of budgets, saying they're a little bit overrated. You can get sidetracked, and you just so much time and effort. And I've tried it many times in the past, and I always end up giving it up. And I thought about it, and I was like, actually, budgets do serve their, even for me, they have served their purpose, although I didn't end up following through with it over the long run. I've kept it up for a month or two, and even that was still, now in hindsight, worth my time because it gave me a snapshot, and it showed me exactly where I were, financially speaking. I'm such a nerd. In life, what I was spending money on, what I was overspending, and what were good expenses and all of that. Now, a really quick side note, to help you judge whether something is worth spending money on or not, I made another video on that, of course, which I'll also link to in the description below. And it's called a book, Your Money or Your Life, and it really gets you thinking about every dollar that you spend. Is it really worth that time that it's your life energy, right? So if you work for roughly X amount of dollars per hour, and you spend, say $20 an hour, and you buy something for $20, well, you just spent an hour of your life purchasing that item. And that's a good way to think about it. Is it really worth it or not? Anyway, if you're interested in more on that topic, it's a really great way to think of how you're spending your money. I would recommend watching that video. Going back to budgets, okay? So there are times like this. Now, especially when your life situation is going to change, you're going through some major change, good or bad, it's really nice to revisit the idea of a budget, and maybe even temporarily, like let's say, I would say 2 months is kind of a good amount of time. Temporarily, even 6 weeks, like seeing where you are at, what you're spending on. Okay, so in my case, I'm about to move in with my fiance. Yay! We're going to find a place. Well, we just did find a place in Berlin, and we're going to move in early December. And now that we're going to be officially living together, we're going to be shopping for groceries together. We're going to be sharing the cost of rent together and all these other things. And I think it'll be really helpful to make kind of a shared budget so we're both on the same page. Now, how would you get started? How are we going to get started with that? And I want to share that advice with you. Okay, so there's two things, and then the third is like a tip I'm going to give you at the end, which is just a really helpful thing. But two main ways to have a budget, in my opinion. Number one is like the old school, spreadsheet, Excel, or like a Google Drive doc or something. I like Google Drive because then you can just share it automatically and the changes get auto-updated and both parties or multiple people can see it at the same time. So that's probably what we're going to do. That's the number one thing we're going to do. And, you have your categories for the different expenses, and I don't need to go into that. But I'm actually going to look up an article because I think that's good for people just getting started making a budget, like if they want to do it themselves. How to do it. Okay, so we're going to do the spreadsheet thing. But I think it's also good to supplement a spreadsheet with kind of the modern technology, such as like using an app. Mint app is the best one, in my opinion. I've used it. I still use it, actually. And it is free to download, and on your phone, and you hook up your credit cards, your bank account, and you get to see where every penny goes, and it automatically categorizes it. So it'll like, entertainment, like you bought a ticket to the movies. All right, you just spent $12, on entertainment, and it'll show you your whole month, what you spend on, and it'll like automatically compare it. You can see fancy graphs and charts, compare it to previous months, and you can set a whole like budget of what you want to spend for each category, and it's like a really great way to automate things. And if you spend with cash, you can manually add that cash expense as well. But the reason I want to use Mint together with a spreadsheet is I think it'll be a really nice way to like, when you're in school, if you're in like class and you hear what the teacher's saying, but still you want to write it down or type it, because that solidifies it in your mind and it kind of makes a better impression and really internalizes what you're trying to learn. Same thing with a budget. Now you can do it on Mint and have it all automated and you don't barely think about it. Maybe you check it once a week or something. And I think that's great for more of like, especially for maintenance, when you already have a really good idea and you're used to keeping track or living on that certain budget. And then you check, let's say every few days, once a week, make sure you're still on track, right? I think that's great. But when you're just starting, like, again, for us, this is a brand new living situation, new exciting part of my life. And it'll be really nice to really follow every little penny in the beginning with a spreadsheet in addition to Mint. And then once we get the hang of it, I don't plan on doing this spreadsheet forever, just to clarify. Like budgets, I've learned from my 8, 10 times I've done this, tried it so many times in the past. And I always end up quitting budgets because it is time taking. It is a lot of like nitpicky little work. And that's why for me, at least, budgets aren't like a permanent thing, but I think for the first couple months in this new living situation, it'll really help. That with Mint, to get the overview, I'm super pumped. And then the final tip I'm going to share in 1 second after I just say thank you so much for watching. And please give this a thumbs up and subscribe if you think that budgets are sexy, which is a great blog. I'm going to link to that below. Speaking of which, I know, but seriously, budgets are sexy. So there are a bunch of like great free resources out there, including that blog and many others like personal finance and budget related blogs and podcasts. I especially love podcasts because I like the idea of, when you're like busy doing something, whether you're cooking, you're cleaning, maybe you're taking the train to work, whatever it is. These are moments where you could actually maximize your time and be learning as well while you're doing some kind of like busy work or just waiting for the bus, whatever you're doing, right? You might as well listen to a podcast and get some education as well. All right. And that podcast is You Need a Budget. That's one of the best free podcasts on this topic. I'll also look that up and link it for you below. Lots of free resources here coming your way. So thank you again for watching. You guys are awesome. I'll see you in the next video.